Who was your first crush? My neighbor. I distinctly remember hoping he'd notice me in my bathing suit. He was 17. I was 7. Edit, to add, he didn't notice me. Thank God. Boy in my class. Lasted way too long. Fancied him from the ages of 8 to 13. I annoyed the ever-loving shit out of that poor kid. Joe, if you can see this, I'm so fucking sorry. If he sees your username, he's gonna have some regrets. Orlando Bloom. The Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean movies were my obsessions for several years, for more reasons than one. Doofenshmirtz's daughter. Too bad Ferb got there first. I always thought it was funny how the voice actors for Ferb and Vanessa also played love interests in the film Love Actually. Jennifer Connelly in Labyrinth. I wanted her to babysit me. Edit, hold up. I'm only now just realizing what a terrible babysitter she was. She sold her own brother to David Bowie's codpiece. Ty Lee. This kid named Ben in first grade, I remember chasing hot he boys being like haha if you don't run I'll kiss you, then he was like okay and I was like aw sick that's nasty ew. Smooth moves on my part 10 out of 10. Hey how you doing winking face. Ooh Ben likes her. Reddit does matchmaking. Victoria. I told this story recently about when I expressed my feelings to her. When I was about 7 or 8 years old we took a field trip to the Field Museum here in Chicago. During our lunch break and I wandered off to the gift shop to see what they had. I had a huge crush on this girl named Victoria in my class and I saw this ladybug ring for a couple of dollars. I knew she liked ladybugs and I had money my parents gave me to buy something at the shop, so I decided to buy the ring and give it to her. I was really nervous and kept waiting for the right time to do it. I eventually decided to just go for it and walked up to her near the end of the trip. She was with some of her friends which made me more nervous, but I found the courage to do it. She looked at the ring and laughed. Her friends joined her and she then tossed the ring in the trash. I was completely devastated and tried hard to hold back my tears. Even though I'm over it now, that completely fucked my confidence with girls for a long time. Looking back, I may have embarrassed her too giving it to her in front of her friends, which is why she reacted that way, but even still it was pretty bullshit for her to just toss it in the trash in front of me like that. Zuko from Avatar, The Last Airbender. Girl from leg shaving commercial. Emma Watson. When I was a kid, I thought I would grow older and I could date her. I figured out later that if I grow older, so does she. I thought she was my age when I watched the first HP movie, man when I found out she was like 18, that's painful for a 9-year-old. Just imagine being roughly the same age and knowing you still have no chance. That's me. I'm literally a few months younger than Emma Watson. I had a massive crush on her and also knew I had no chance of even meeting her. Brittany, I don't remember her last name. She was my neighbor and we had little crushes. I broke my arm walking across a fence trying to impress her. Then her friend moved into the neighborhood and convinced her to knock on my door and throw berries at me, yelling that they didn't want to be friends with me anymore. I blame all my commitment issues on this moment. Winnie Cooper. Then Topanga. Depends on how you want to word it. When I was 4 there was a girl, Melissa, in my pre-kindergarten that we said we were going to run away, get married and live in an RV. Then there was Jennifer 2 years later, the twins after that, then Gina, then Maria, then Kristen, then Summer, then Heidi, list kind of goes on. When I was 4 there was a girl, Melissa, in my pre-kindergarten that we said we were going to run away, get married and live in an RV. Oh my goodness, that's so dramatic. How does a 4-year-old even come up with this? He was 4, she was the kindergarten teacher. Shit just went from 0 to 100 real fucking quick. Gordon Ramsay. Don't ask. Where is the lamb sauce? Right here daddy. I'll see myself out. Both Annabeth Chase and Percy Jackson, at the same time. Let me be honest with you. Jack Sparrow. Edit, why did so many people see my comment? Awkward. Captain. Carly. Carly. From iCarly? Carly from 5th grade with blonde hair, blue eyes. Raven from Teen Titans or Artemis from Young Justice. A girl named Christy I met while camping with my family. We went to the county fair together and hung out the whole week we were camping. We actually kept in touch for a long time, but she lived like 2 hours from me and I was like 12 at the time, so it's not like I could just go meet her. I went to see her once, it was awkward, she had a daughter and I was a 20-something dumbass in the Air Force. That fucking girl dog from a Goofy movie. Roxanne was so bad. Kim Possible. Shigo. Kim was alright but Shigo was stupid bad. And that's when you realized you're into goths. Disney's Robin Hood, the Fox. You. Like that's ever gonna happen. Slam's book. Misty from Pokémon. She was an emo anime fangirl I met in 5th grade. She was also really rude to me and was in love with my best friend who refused to even acknowledge her existence. Good times P. Ming back and forth over Gaia Online. Angelina Jolie. As a 4-year-old girl. I should have known. Edit, I was the 4-year-old girl. Aang was in her 20s. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I hope you were the 4 years old in that comment. Oh my god, I have just seen how this looks and I hate myself. Username checks out. I'm not just an embarrassment on Reddit. I'm an embarrassment everywhere. Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher. Slave Leia was my first crush and fetish wrapped together. I distinctly remember Slave Leia being the first moment in my life where I was like, huh. What the fuck is my dick doing right now? Gonna be a real awkward conversation when I finally convince her daughter to marry me. Agent 99. The Pink Power Ranger. General Kenobi. And I'm not even joking. Hello there. Elizabeth Shue from Karate Kid. So cute in those short shorts and sweatshirt. That was a crush that lasted for a really long time too. Adventures in Babysitting, Back to the Future 2, etc. Elizabeth Shue. I hate to admit, but it might have been my cousin. Around those times I also had crush on a 1-year older girl from my neighbor with who I spent almost whole summer together. I just can't recall which one of these was first. Holy shit, I read a 1-year-old girl. I was about to ask how old you were. I hate to admit, but it might have been my cousin. Maybe. My best friend in 3rd grade. She also liked me at the time, but my other friend liked her too, so it was a full-on 3rd grade love triangle. Kellen something. 2nd grade in Mrs. Anderson's class. Blonde hair, blue eyes. He was the best in class at multiplication. Then one day I beat him in a little multiplication game we played as a class. Then I started crushing on math. I now work as an estimator. Kelly Kapowski. Mark Hamill when he played Luke Skywalker. Love Star Wars growing up. I watched it a lot on VHS whenever my folks and I would go to Blockbuster to rent movies. Lol. Mine was Han Solo. Not Harrison Ford, Han. My best friend's older sister. God, was she pretty. The King of Queens was my favorite show due to my massive crush on Leah Remini. She was delicioso. Kylie Minogue. Yes, I'm old. You just can't get her out of your head, huh? As a normal boy, it was a different crush a month, but I still remember Vicky from the 2nd grade and her beautiful smile. The blonde girl in short shorts that I sat next to in grade 6. Background: I moved from a super religious country to the West. Had never seen blondes in real life, and more importantly, I had never seen girls in short shorts. She was the most beautiful thing 11-year-old me had ever laid eyes on. Lol. Even though everyone is mentioning their animated and celeb crushes, the post doesn't say it has to be from that category. My first real human crush was a girl named Emily. She had nice dark skin and soft hair that reached her shoulders. I met her in elementary through my friend's girlfriend who actually became my best friend. Emily though, she was a difficult girl. She really didn't like interacting with others, and when she finally felt comfortable around me she would just tease me endlessly. It still never made me shake off my feelings. Because she and I had braces, sometimes I would say dream some weird things. One of them was that I would accidentally trip and fall on her and end up getting our braces tangled. I had very weird thoughts back then. Unfortunately, nothing ever happened and my image of her was finally ruined when she became upstuck and sure of herself. I don't think she ever even considered me a friend. David Bowie. I'm 37. It was a labyrinth thing. Zelda from Skyward Sword. Alex Mack. A early 20s guy fixing our roof. I was 7. I was a weird kid. I had crushes on 50% of my dad's friends. In my entire life I have had crushes on only 4 boys that were my age range. Did I have daddy issues? I think I had daddy issues. Jessica Alba. Elizabeth Sisson. I really liked her smile. We were both in the 4th grade. I either never told her or I blocked the memory of the rejection. Daniel Radcliffe. I was 5 years old. Danny DeVito. Azula from Last Airbender. How was it Azula? When I was young I didn't like her because I knew she was mean. But Ty Lee is a different story. Imagine it. Kindergarten. His name was Dusty. He had blonde hair and wore a leather jacket to school every day. Unfortunately, he was also a little violent. He enjoyed throwing chairs across the room and at kids, sticking gum in kids' hairs, and writing on his desk in permanent markers. Needless to say, Dusty didn't come back after kindergarten. I have no idea what happened, but the teachers said he went to a school designed for him. Hope he's doing good in life now. A girl in 3rd grade named Laura. I was too scared to tell her how felt, I was afraid of being made fun of. And she was always surrounded by her friends and I was a bit of an outcast due to my erratic behavior caused by ADHD. I remember thinking she was the most beautiful girl I had ever seen at the time. My favorite thing about her was her long black hair and she was a smart student. I would have stupid fantasies of winning her over in class. We never really talked, but I remember cherishing every moment I had around Het, whether it was a class project, a field trip, or if we sat next to each other during an assembly. Every chance I'd get, I would try to prove myself to her by trying to be funny, but I end up being awkward. Haven't seen her since elementary. Don't know where she is or what she is doing. I hope she's happy though, and content with her life. I wouldn't want to meet her again, she most likely wouldn't remember me anyways. And seeing her would only bring back bad memories of elementary school, of the times I was bullied for my awkward behavior. I would hate myself if she remembered that. I watched some violent movies when I was a little kid. As a result, Alyssa Milano in Commando. I was trying to act tough in preschool and ate a chip before we said our snack time prayer to impress my desk neighbor. She told on me and I cried. The person I married. Ms. Bianca from The Rescuers. A boy in my kindergarten class. I left love notes in his cubby every week. We ended up going to the same high school and he took me to freshman year homecoming and senior year prom, still friends with him today. In sum, I think we're married, haha. A boy named Jonathan who lived next door to my grandparents' house. I was 8 and he was about 11. My brother and I spent a lot of time at our grandparents' house growing up and they lived in an area with no kids, so we would often play with Jonathan when we were there and I had the biggest crush on him for about 2 years. Starfire. She turned out to be gay. No, I don't want to talk about it. Fuck off, you're just gonna tell her. Aaron Carter as a 7-year-old girl. I Want Candy was my jam. Howl from Howl's Moving Castle, the original emotionally unavailable fuckboy. Her name was Grace, she had a penis. I thought that was Lola. I'm just a squirrel. Leslie from Bridge to Terabithia. You can probably understand why I don't like that movie. Bruh, Dr. Doofenshmirtz's daughter. Neve Campbell. Rachel Lively. She wore a Tweety Bird one-piece. She lived in the neighboring town but she saw her dad on the weekend and he lived right by the pool. I saw her every Saturday for a whole summer at that pool. Rode my bike so fast to see her. Then, vanished. We chased each other around the grass, she tricked me into kissing her. My first kiss on the playground, she used one of those finger trap things that you open and close a bunch then open up to see what it says. It said hug. She said let's play again. Was kiss. Kissed. Damn. Best moment of my 12-year-old life. Wonder what happened to her sad face. We would lie in the grass holding hands looking up at the clouds. Nowhere to be, nowhere to go, pre-phone, so none of that. Just would lay there. Damn. First serious crush was a girl in my Spanish class in sophomore year of high school. We started dating at the end of that school year, and over the last 8 years we shared so many wonderful experiences, fell in love, and planned the rest of our lives together. She just left me. Bro. It's okay, you can do better. I appreciate your response, thank you. Redacted. Says I am me because I am. A random girl in my class in first grade. Now, 11 years later I have a crush on her again. Is this weird? John Smith and Pocahontas. A girl in my Daisy troupe. We had a pretend wedding at the park, my stuffed moose officiated. Shout out to the moose. Tom Hiddleston. I was young and loved him to bits. I still love him but not as a crush. Looking back on those days now, I cringe very hard. I don't know if I should tell her name, but I met her in kindergarten. It was called Jarden where I was at the time. She always held hands with this other kid I didn't like, but when he wasn't there she'd hold mine. Eventually, when we were in second grade her mother passed away. And she changed school, never saw her again, hope she's doing alright. That other kid got into drugs and tbh fuck that guy. Sora from Digimon. Niall Horan. He was such a cute funny little blonde kid. Clarissa Explains It All and Winnie from Wonder Years. I don't really remember much from elementary, but I remember having basically the same consistent crush for the next 7 years through middle school and high school, with only minor breaks in between. Still, it always came back to the one. She wasn't the most popular person in the school, but she was the cutest to me. She's quiet and kind, and I found I could barely take my eyes off her during class, especially these last 2 years. Still, 12th grade, when I finally worked up the courage to ask her out, that was when I found out she had just started dating someone else the week before. It was 5th grade, and she was the girl who had already finished puberty, so she was way taller than everyone else, and well developed. I actually added her on MySpace many years after. We exchanged like 3 sentences and never spoke again. Lol nice try. What's your next question? What is your first pet's name? Mila Kunis. During that 70s show I remember drawing tons of pictures of her and realizing she was it. One of my brother's best friends. I was a creepy child though. On his birthday I called him over 15 times and hung up right away because I was too scared to say happy birthday, so I ended up sending him a text message saying something like, "Hey, sorry I called 15 times, happy birthday. Sincerely, your friend's creepy little sister." He was 17, I was 8. I haven't seen him in over 13 years and I honestly hope I never see him again. I'm cringing so hard typing this. Nala from Lion King. I was maybe like 5 years old. Simba wants to know your location. Steve Martin. I was 5. Even had a framed newspaper clipping of him on my wall. Actually, I was really into the movie Three Amigos, and told my mom I wanted to marry them. She laughed and said, "All 3. But you can only marry 1. To which my 5-year-old self responded, "But I need a lot of men." On a side note, anyone else scroll through every single reply to see if someone had a crush on them? No? Just me? Okay. Danny K. He was tall and always played awkward but could dance and sing and just made me happy. My mom always had old movies on and we watched White Christmas all year long. It was crushing to realize he was already dead. You wouldn't know her, she goes to another school. Once, when I was 12 or so, I opened up too many drawers on a tall toolbox. Helena Bonham Carter, when I first saw her as Bellatrix. Jet from Gladiators. My ex. Shrek. Classmate. Brains and Beauty. And Manners. Too bad I'm an ugly idiot. His name was Michael. I made a mix CD full of sad songs from musicals, think I'm Not That Girl from Wicked and On My Own from Les Mis, and would lie in my bed crying because he didn't like me. Middle school was rough. Ferris Bueller. Matthew Broderick was hot as then and he's hot AF now. Wednesday Addams. 2nd grade, blonde Russian girl seated next to me. No idea what a crush was. Taped her hair to a desk. Han Solo. Sid from Toy Story 1. Yikes. Always had a thing for the bad boys I suppose. A girl in my class, age 9, she was really pretty, angelic I'd say. There was another kid in my class, extrovert, who was really into her and as usual he was annoying, especially to her, and I was kinda jealous. I was the ugly lonely kid in the class. Everyone bullied me cause I never shaved my eyebrows and one DSY especially I was in the front of the room and someone started yelling at me for me eyebrows. The whole class joined, but she stood up and defended me. I don't know if it was the whole class or if it happened like that, but it happened. I never forgot Eventually my mom got to know her aunt and realized we both lived close, so my mom paid her aunt to drive me home with her, my crush. We got to know each other briefly. I can't really remember everything, but the feeling I got from being with her was pure happiness. I fell in love and never told her. She went to another school before finishing this one, and I was really sad. Years later we found each other with our moms at the supermarket and we stood there, no talk. Days after my mom told me she talked with her aunt, and said that my crush thought I was really pretty. By then I didn't know how to feel really, and even later my mom told me I was her crush as well. Never got to know anything about her again. She was a real angel. TLDR, I was 8, a girl from my class stood up to my bullies, our moms knew each other and my crush aunt drove me home with her, got to know my crush a bit, and years later I found out she kinda had a crush on my at some point, never told her anything. A boy named Ryan in kindergarten. I told my friend and she encouraged me to tell him. So I told him on the playground in front of everybody at recess. He laughed and spit in my face and ran away. It surprisingly didn't faze me. But fuck you, Ryan. Stacy's mum. Natalie Portman in Attack of the Clones. White outfit. If you watched Star Wars as a kid and she wasn't her first, I don't know what possibly could have been. My first male crush, Leonardo DiCaprio circa 1997 in Titanic. My first girl crush, Miss Honey from the Matilda film. I'm female, by the way, just to clarify, haha. My first crush was in first grade. It wasn't an obsession or anything, just a cute little innocent I like him smiley face. So this kid's name was Marcus. Everyone used to tease us about being best friends, because a boy and a girl meant love to them. I kept telling them that no, we don't like each other. After first grade ended, he went to another school. That is when I realized I liked him. A lot. I still see him sometimes. Thanks for watching our video. If you like it, please smash the subscribe and like button to support the channel, so that we can create more quality content in the future.